I feel like we gotta talk about the DIY rail you and Kyle and Brad made for that. Was
Oh
it a
yeah,
20 stair?
I think it was a 20 or 22. I think 22.
Regardless, I gotta know more about it. I was there for some of the sessions, but like the actual making of the rail or just even
Yeah.
the thought of doing it, I just take me through it, honestly. I just want to know how it all developed.
Yeah. So I remember Kyle and Brad knew about that condominium with that 22. When we went there, you had the stair set and you had the posts, but no rail. So you can tell there used to be a rail there, but all that was left were the posts in the ground. It was fall, and I remember me and Kyle and Brad had talked about welding together a rail and putting one there, and it didn't seem like an area that you'd get kicked out of and it would be kind of foolproof, you know? We actually we took measurements and we went and purchased the steel at a metal supply place. And then Kyle and Brad at I think their dad's warehouse, they knew how to weld. So we welded it, and I remember after we welded it, I'll lay the rail on the ground and I'll cut openings so we can go there quickly and set it down into these slots. And I remember it set down perfect, like it almost like locked. I do remember Brad saying, he's like, dude, it fit perfect. Like your cuts were perfect.
This rail is it's hard to eyeball, but it's extremely long. How did they transfer it not only to our old house that we lived in, but then to the spot?
Basically picture the car and the rail just like the car right in the middle set on top wrapped, and so imagine a car going down the street with a, I mean, dude, it was very, very long. I remember a tube of like liquid nail because our plan was put liquid nail on the legs, set it down, and then let it cure, and then paint it because it hadn't been painted yet, and we wanted it to look like it's always been there. And then we were just waiting for winter at that point.
So then you went on to do three tricks, front board,
Mhm.
50, and lip slide. And then Kyle board slid it as well. Can't forget that. I feel like even though the 50 and the lip slide and the board slide were all used in the videos, they kind of seem like they're different sessions. Maybe not entirely three different sessions, but at least two.
Yeah, the front board was like the first time, and I just could not land it clean. I was almost more stoked on getting the photo that Evan McHenry shot. He shot a really cool photo. It was so steep, and I remember too that the end was really maybe a little bit longer than it should have been. So it was almost making it harder to land because it was you got going so fast, and I just never ended up doing it again. Then I did the front lip, and then the 50 was last. And the front lip, Peter Jones was in town. I remember it was gonna be warm, and he only had a couple more days, and I think the weather was gonna be warm for like the rest of the time that he was there. And so our only option was to go in the morning. And I remember I had class at like 10 o'clock or something. So we went there, it was like at 8:30 or something before it got warm. The lip slide was really scary. And I rolled up to it for a while. And, I knew like, dude, I have to do this. There's no other time. Peter's here. And the run up when you're there, all you can see is like that much of the rail. It's just so steep. And that's not a nice feeling when you're back there, you're looking. And then the first attempt, I just got in and slipped back and slipped and fell all the way at the bottom. Looking at the footage, like I could have broken my leg, dude. It was a pretty hard fall. I like bodied the floor, but I was good. I was super like, okay, like it's on now. And then I started trying it. I was getting more comfortable. It was just very difficult to land going that fast. And then the more I was trying it, the sun was coming out and my board was soaking wet. And I mean, that feeling, your grip is wet and it is sketchy. I think it probably took, man, 15 tries or something before I was actually able to roll away. remember landing it, and then I had to go straight to class, and I was soaking wet. And I remember I had dropped Peter off at our house on Walnut. I didn't have time to change. I was late. Looking back, I probably could have just dried off. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but I think that was my second to last trick because that I had to work pretty hard for that one. Then I guess 50, I thought that'd be a good idea to also 50 it. And looking back, that was sketchy because that rail is so fat. And that was also pretty scary, but I think landing that was probably quicker from what I remember. I'm not sure if you remember the session, but it was easier, obviously, to land than a front lip. You're just riding right off of it.
That's a wrap, bud. The season's fucking done.
I want to go now and see if it's still there. I'm like
That
really
was
curious.
right. That was my big final question was like, is it still there? So if you could check
Mhm.
and take a photo, whatever it looks like right now, that would be really cool so I
Yeah,
could include it.
yep, definitely. I'll do that.